Hello everybody! So today's video is going to be a quick review of 3 different books, or book series. First of all is Ironcast, second of all is the Divergent series, which I do not own, and third of all will be Wildwood. So let's get started. So I'm going to be doing these review videos a little bit different. I kind of want to do them in chunks instead of just individual movies for individual books or book series. I kind of wanted to just kind of shotgun them out. So this will be in 2 parts. I've got 3 different books I'm going to talk about in this video, and then I'm going to make another video for 3 more books that I have read so far this year. The first book I'm going to talk about that I actually started last year but finished this year is Ironcast by Destiny Soria. This book I got in a LitJoy crate. It is about 2 girls who live in the 1920s. They are what are known as hemopaths in this world, or in this book. So it's the 1920s, and there's these people that are called hemopaths. Everybody knows about them and their powers, but they are forbidden to use them. It is illegal. It's a few years before Prohibition. This girl is a songsmith. Basically, she plays her violin and uses music to manipulate people's emotions. The girl in the back here, she is a wordsmith, somebody who uses words and poetry and stories to create illusions for people to see. There's also people in there that are called thespians. They can change their face to imitate anybody that they want to. So this book, they're best friends, these 2 girls, they're best friends, and they live in sort of a club that's run by Johnny, and you know, kind of a classic gangster name. So the good about it, I thought that the world was really, really interesting. I also liked how it presented, you know, I guess the racial problems that they had in the 1920s, because she is African American while she is white and comes from like a wealthy family, traditional wealthy family. But then also the fact that they are both hemopaths and they're both persecuted for that fact alone. The bad about it is that the pacing in it was really bizarre. The beginning sort of really grasped me, but then after like the first few pages, I was bored, I will admit it. And then it kind of went, and then halfway in the book it like really shot up. There was things happening just right after another, and then the ending sort of ended, but then something really exciting happens again, and then it ends again. And I'm like, oh, well, okay, I guess that's cool. So the pacing was kind of off for me, but then also the switching in perspective I didn't really like that much because they sounded very similar. And also she switched perspectives in the middle of chapters. I mean, they were separated, but still I had to go back and reread a lot of parts because I wasn't sure whose perspective I was reading from. There were also some darker elements in this that I wasn't too fond of, so overall I will admit that I probably won't be picking this one up again because it was just a little too dark, a little too gritty for me, and but I mean, it was a good book. Some people can probably handle the darkness that's in it, but personally, I don't think I'll be picking it up again. So that's Ironcast by Destiny Soria. Alright, the next book series I'm going to talk about, I do not actually own. It is the Divergent Series by Veronica Roth. I checked it out from the library, and it's a dystopian that features the factions. If you don't know about it, I'm sure you can look it up on Goodreads. Everybody knows about it. I'm pretty late in the dystopia game because I just don't like dystopians. I really don't. But I decided to give this one a shot just because people were huge fans of it, and so I decided to give it a try. And I liked it-ish. It was a fun read just to know what people were talking about. My favorite part about this book series was Tris and For's relationship. I feel like that was a super healthy relationship, and where, you know, they weren't disrespectful to one another, even though they had fights, they forgave each other, and I thought that that was just a beautiful representation of a teenage relationship, and I feel like it's something that people can actually look up to and want to imitate. So it's a good example, I thought. The bad about it, holy death McDetherson. I know dystopians are kind of known for that, but I was so sick of people dying by the end of that series. I was so done. I needed something that was happy by the end of that series. And Veronica Roth, why did you do that? Why would you do that at the end of Allegiant? Holy crap. Like, I really didn't think it was going to happen, but it did. And I totally didn't call it. Some people are saying, you know, because of the change in perspectives and stuff in the last book, I really had no idea that that was coming. I really didn't. But speaking of which, in the last book, she has you switch perspectives between Tris and For, and people complained that it was difficult to go back and forth between the two because they sounded very similar. And I would say that that was true, but the other reason why I didn't like it so much was because Tris from 4's perspective, sounded really cheesy. Like, whatever she would say sounded really cheesy or really kind of dumb and fangirly and that kind of a thing, but whenever she spoke from her point of view, it sounded very epic and very deep because you know what she was coming from and what she was saying. Overall, I like the series, but I don't think I'll buy it because, again, I'm not a huge fan of dystopians, but it was a fun read. The last book I'm going to talk about is Wildwood by Colin Meloy and illustrated by Carson Ellis. So the fun fact about this book is that Colin Meloy is the lead singer of the Decemberists and Carson Ellis is his wife. This book is sort of a fun Narnia-esque type middle grade reader in which this girl named Prue, she gets thrown into this adventure because her baby brother gets kidnapped by a murder of crows and taken into the Wildwood, which is on the edge of Portland, Oregon. So she has to go into the wood to find her baby brother, and she's also followed by her friend Curtis, and sort of the shenanigans that they get into with this one. This one was very reminiscent of Narnia in the sense that it was very whimsical, and the world that they enter has talking animals in it, is very fun and whimsical in that sense. But where it ends with Narnia is that this has some darker themes in it, such as like human sacrifice and bringing people back to life. And then I haven't finished the Chronicles of Narnia, so I'm not sure how the battle goes or is described in that one. But in this one, the battle in this one wasn't too bad in the sense that, yes, characters actually do die, people actually do die in war, so I felt like that was presented well, but it wasn't in gory detail. So if you have a middle grade reader that you think would like this, I would suggest you read it first just to make sure that, you know, there's not some things in there that might scare them or that kind of a thing. The most prominent reason why I bought this book was because of the illustrations. Let me see if I can find one here. Here we go. So here's a color one, a color illustration of like the Wildwood. And I feel like these illustrations were so fun and so simplistic and very, in a way, Edward Gorey-esque, if you know who Edward Gorey is, in the sense that it's very, very simple pen and ink drawings. And I just loved it. I thought it was so fun. This is a trilogy. Will I be picking up the other two? I'm not quite sure yet. I did like it, but there's some other things I want to get to more rather than just diving into going in and buying the next one. I'm also on a book buying ban because I buy too many books, and so I'm on a book buying ban in the sense that I have to read 2 books before I can buy one more book. So if I read 8 books, then I can get 4 books, kind of a thing. That is part 1 of my book reviews for the beginning of this year. Let me know if you like the book reviews like this, or if you would prefer a more in-depth discussion about each one. Then I will start doing that more often. Let me know, let me hear your feedback, and as always, thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time. Thanks, bye.